Welcome to In the News with Double O Des. I'm Des Bernardo, giving you my perspective on news from South Africa and the rest of the world. In the news this morning, I have an article that I want to cover, and I'm not going to go through the entire article. I want to just highlight a few pointers for you, and I'm going to put this article as usual in the description below this video. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. If you have not yet, please subscribe and click the bell icon so you can get notifications on all the other videos. Please watch the Question Everything series as well as the Moments in Time series. In those series, you will actually find why I'm doing what I'm doing. So for those of you that are new to the channel, please go and watch those. It's going to take some time, but you're going to learn a lot and hopefully see why I'm doing a tour around the country where I will be meeting with people and explaining what is happening in the country with regards to history as well as what's happening in future within South Africa as well as the world. And this article comes from News 24, and it's a highlight of what happened yesterday within the Western Cape, and I'll briefly describe to you what happened and then I'll quote a few quotes from the article. It says here, it shows a picture of what happened somewhere in Cape Town. Gutful Capetonians call it a day, but other protests continue in Cape Town. So the headline's trying to say that the Gutful Capetonian movement, who said they were going to shut down Cape Town, I watched that video of Adil Adams, that they called it a day. I saw the video where he actually told the people to stand down and that they had achieved their goal and that some of his people were arrested and that he was going to go and help them, which is obviously a good thing, seeing that he called for the shutdown of Cape Town. Now, I'm not sure that Cape Town was shut down, so I'm not sure why it was called that. I'm not sure how much support he has. I would love to meet with him and show him that there are other ways of doing things where you don't actually have to infringe on other people's rights. And if he wants to go to Parliament, he will be able to get himself elected. He can put himself forward as a presidential candidate as well as a candidate in provincial and or national Parliament. He can already put himself forward as a councillor. So, in this article, 5 people were arrested by early Monday morning following protests in various Cape Town suburbs. Gutful Capetonian and a self-described pressure group threatened to shut down the city in an attempt to highlight the plight of backyard dwellers. City of Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato called on law enforcement officials to squash the planned shutdown. And this is something I want to focus on. On Friday, we saw that a police water cannon actually went into Cape Town and caused damage everywhere. Now, it's important to know that the person driving this truck, he knows exactly where he's spraying. They're very, very accurate, and they're very good at shooting the water in a specific direction. So this person's well trained before they can actually use this truck. So when they blasted people at a restaurant table sitting on the sidewalk, blasted them off the table while they're innocently sitting there, minding their own business, not even holding placards, that cannot be seen as a mistake, because this person should have been able to prevent this. So what happened is that the mayor of Cape Town, Dan Plato, they've been asking, as well as Dave Bryant, who's a councillor for Ward 105 in Cape Town, they asked for law enforcement to take action against the protesters and for things not to get out of hand because it's damaging their DA-run city. So the DA is the ruling party in Cape Town, and I want to highlight this, that the people that were attacked there by the police, the instruction did not come from Becky Cele. That the mayor, Dan Plato, actually asked for support from the police services, and he asked for support again on Monday against Gutful Capetonian when everyone was put on high alert with regards to the protest action. So I saw the video of Adil calling for the people to stand down. I'm not going to go through all of that now. He said, guys, please stand down. We have proved our point. We had our peaceful protest and we disrupted them, Adam said in the video. The problem with this is he speaks of peaceful protest and disruption in the very next sentence. And I want you to understand that we cannot allow this government to declare a state of emergency. They will look for any reason to declare a state of emergency, and it looks like the DA is actually falling in with that whole idea. So Dan Plato, by going and having these people blasted on Friday, asking for action by the police services, because I know where the order came from. So I know the line of communication, and it wasn't from Becky Cele, as people said. then you are doing the same thing behind the scenes, but you just don't want people to know about it. But just remember one thing, that the people that work with you, you can't trust them anymore. Do you know why? Because they're speaking out against what you're doing openly. You might be paying their salaries. You might have put them in their positions. But some of these people have a heart, and they have a common sense. And some of these people don't trust you anymore to lead the metro. Because you will never be elected directly by anyone. No one will even put a cross behind your name except your family and friends. But they will all abandon you the moment you actually have to run for mayor on an independent platform. Because you've done nothing for the city. Nothing. Nothing that any of us can see. You're not even visible. You will only come to a meeting when threatened, and I speak from experience. So, Mayor Dan Plato, we can't wait to replace you by voting for someone ourselves that can actually go around, speak to people, and if he or she doesn't speak to people, they just won't elect that person. It's that simple. So a lot of other protests outside of full Cape Townian happened all over the Cape Town Metro. They were sporadic. And as I reported that there were incidents here close to me, I could hear the bangs going off. And they say here in Bellville South, Peter Barlow Drive was closed, but it was later reopened between Castlesvlei and Robert Sebukwe roads. In Kuils River, the R300 towards the N2 was also closed at Van Riebeeck Road. Motorists were advised that those roads were affected by sporadic protests. Now, I told you the protest was actually that bad that people turned around on the wrong side of the road and actually got out of there as fast as they could. So people avoided the R300 yesterday, and with good reason. It says that 5 people were arrested in Steenberg and in Jakes Gerwel Road in Bishop Lywes, Cape Town, after protesters burned tyres and barricaded roads on Monday morning. By around 7:20, there was a report of an incident of stone throwing. Now, I believe stone throwing happened all over. The following areas were affected according to Brigadier Novelwa Patelwa: Steenberg, Bishop Lywes, Luandle, Eerste River, Kraaifontein, Mitchells Plain, Mamre, Delft, Bellville, and South Atlantis. Now, that's quite a few areas. And I quote, SAPS members with Metro Police and traffic services are busy opening closed roads. Small groups are gathering in some areas, Patelwa said. This comes after calls for protest action by a group called Full Cape Townian, as well as ongoing separate protests over land over the past week. So there were many other protest groups that were also doing things that have been ongoing throughout this entire time. Full Cape Townian, which is a self-described pressure group, said it would shut down the city in an attempt to highlight the plight of backyard dwellers. Now, to shut down the city, you need massive support, and obviously that didn't happen. So I'm not sure how much support Full Cape Townian actually has, or whether that is actually what the group is called. In here, they say that Fadil is one of the leaders. I thought he was the leader, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on. If I have a meeting with Fadil, I'll be able to find out what's going on and actually explain to him that through direct elections that he can put himself forward and he can actually speak for the plight of the people that back him. And if they actually back him, they will vote him in as a MPL or as an MP in Parliament or as the President. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. And I quote, over the past year, our situation has gotten worse and we are nowhere near a solution. People are still being evicted and thrown to the streets during this time of natural disaster with no concern for their health and safety, the statement read. This is from Full Cape Townian. And I have to fully agree with him. People being evicted under the worst conditions is absolute madness, and I absolutely support their call for this to stop during a time like this. And then I quote, we will keep shutting down until we are heard and until action is taken in alleviating the above issue, close quote. So this is their method that they believe will get government to listen to them, is to shut things down. I don't agree with that method. I believe there's other ways of getting the job done. And many people might disagree with me, but the reason why I say that is because government will look for any reason to declare a state of emergency. They wanted a state of emergency. I mentioned that during the last speech of President Cyril Ramaphosa, he actually started saying the word state of emergency and then changed it to disaster at the last second because he knows that he had erred. But it shows you that this is what is in the forefront of his mind. And it's important to understand that. And there's photos in this article of what actually happened, but I want to get to Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato. The City of Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato called on law enforcement officials to squash a planned shutdown. And I quote, "It cannot be that a so-called shutdown is announced and promoted in advance by opportunistic political groups who plan to infringe on the rights of residents," close quote, Plato said in a statement. And I continue with a quote, "I call on the SAPS to prevent those intending to terrorize law-abiding residents. On Monday, I've written to the Western Cape Police Commissioner urging a coordinated law enforcement response to protect residents," close quote. Now, to protect residents, that's 100% within the mandate of what they should do. He says that they are terrorizing residents. Dan Plato, who did you terrorize by calling on the police to take action on Friday? Who did you terrorize? People sitting around tables. Is that how you act? Be careful what you ask for and what you wish for, because you have been exposed with regards to this action. Don't think that everyone is your friend. Like I said, your own people are selling you out. Patel said, "The SAPS in the Western Cape has noted with concern reports on social media from a grouping that threatens to shut down certain parts of Cape Town, including major freeways and access roads. The reports are a cause for concern as they are likely to impact on the lives of ordinary citizens. It is on this basis the management of the SAPS in the province has undertaken to mobilize resources within the SAPS and other law enforcement agencies under the auspices of the Prof joints to curb acts of lawlessness. In the same breath, sporadic incidents of public violence that have taken place in various parts of Cape Town Metropole remain a troubling aspect for law enforcement agencies. Well, this will keep on happening. Just remember one thing, that under our Constitution, we still fall under the Bill of Rights right now, under a state of disaster. Under a state of emergency, the Constitution falls away. That's why the Constitutional Court, a full bench, needs to decide that it's okay to declare a state of emergency. So government needs to go to them with a case and say that, yeah, we have a case for the state of emergency for them to declare it. Don't give them any ammunition to do so, please. Push government to either resign or come up with a direct election system and have elections immediately. This is what we're calling for, and we need to gather support for that. Massive support. So until we haven't gathered massive support, this also won't happen. And we'll continue with the same party gang system where they use gang tactics by using the South African Police Service, who is now being used as a police force. And I can tell you this, because on Saturday, the people that gathered to peacefully drive to Cape Town, not stop any traffic, and actually go to Parliament to say how they feel about what's happening with the lockdowns in the country. The police was out in force there, thinking that there was going to be something happening that's illegal. They told the people not to go to Parliament, that if they go to Parliament, they would be arrested. Nobody was arrested because they know that under the Disaster Management Act, none of those regulations are law. None of them. So they cannot arrest you for a regulation. The Gauteng High Court has ruled on this. Judge Norman Davis has made it clear that level 3 and 4 lockdown regulations were declared unconstitutional and invalid. And he made a blanket claim on that, a blanket statement. And government was only given a chance for leave to appeal on the blanket statement. He actually said what is not included, and that included freedom of movement and freedom of gathering. So, the only way for government to make you break the law is when a law enforcement official like the police is asking you to disperse. Now, their request might be illegal under what the court said, but if they get instructions, they will just follow it, okay? So if they ask you to disperse and you don't, then they can arrest you for disobeying a law enforcement officer, because then it's a level 1 offense. And then they have all the right to arrest you, whether their order was legal or not. And then I ask you to take them to court. The problem is, how does government actually refund someone for damages without taxpayers' money? So this is not a full solution. This is not going to help us. To have every family paid out in money at this stage is not going to help us, because we're paying for that. We need to replace the governance system. We need to elect our leaders directly. This is very important. And what that does is it takes parties' power away to elect our leaders. Parties will always be there. They'll never go away. You can't stop a party from existing. So they will still be there. They'll still put the candidates forward. But all of the candidates, the presidential candidate, the premier candidate, the mayoral candidates, they will be elected as a person. We will know what party they support, if they support a party, if they're not independent. There can still be gazillions of parties. It doesn't make a difference with regards to parties. The big difference with direct elections is that you're electing a person. You can hold them accountable and you can throw them out. And this is where we need to get. Currently, you cannot hold a party to account at all under our Constitution. So there's many problems with the Bill of Rights. There's many problems with our Constitution. Our Bill of Rights does not even give us the right to protect our lives in self-defense. Go and read through the Bill of Rights. If you want to get a rundown on the Bill of Rights and the preamble of the Constitution, go and subscribe to Lauren Evanthia, where she has actually gone and done a breakdown of those specific parts leading up to the Constitution, and she will be covering the full Constitution as well. So please go and watch those videos so that you can inform yourself and so that you understand how you are protected by the law. Just remember that the Bill of Rights is above the Constitution. The Constitution is above any law declared in the country and can be tested against the Constitution in the Constitutional Court. So, make use of those rights and opportunities if you feel that your rights are being infringed. Those ladies that got blasted off that table by that police cannon, they are in their full right to go and take government to court and sue them for damages. Because that is a mayor asking the police services to terrorize the residents of his city. Because that's what happened. So Mayor Dan Plato, the people are pimping on you, your own people. Do you know why? Because they don't like you. They will never elect you themselves. Your time is up. Thank you very much for subscribing to this channel. If you have not yet, please click the subscribe button. Click the bell icon to get notifications to future videos. Thank you for watching this video. Till the next video.